This episode of Vintage Stormfront Freaks has been previously recorded.
Hey, we have Luana Lopes. Oh my goodness, I knew I'd mess it up. Lara, founder of Kalshi, the first regulated financial exchange for trading on events such as hurricanes, drought, and global temperature. Before founding Kalshi, Luana worked as a quantitative trader at Citadel Securities and Five Rings Capital. That's awesome, by the way.
Wow.
Luana earned a bachelor's degree in computer science and mathematics at MIT. Luana, welcome. What are you drinking, and how did you even come up with this concept?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm the most boring of all of you. I'm just drinking like a matcha, like a green tea or something like that. I only drink Fridays and Saturdays. So
is that one of those green goodness things with has a bunch of vegetables in it?
So the store says it's like 10 green teas but concentrated, so you get like very.
Oh my God. So you're gonna be up for hours, basically. You're gonna be up for hours.
It really tastes like just plants and a bit of water.
So since you're gonna be up till Thanksgiving, tell us about how you got this whole concept started. I mean, it's brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, as you said, I think I worked in finance before, and I think a concept that's always there is that most trading comes because people want to have they think something's going to happen in the future, and they're like, how do I bet on that, or how do I make money on that, or get this position in the market? So if I think, I don't know, Europe is going to go into recession, where do I get the bonds and this type of inflation swaps and all these things to be able to actually get exposure to that event, or and things like that. And it really started from this place of most trading actually happens because people have an opinion about what's going to happen in the future and on different events. And then why is there no way for normal people to do that? And why is it not more widespread? And why is it not like a direct and easy to access way? And then we started looking into it, and we thought it was a massive market. And I think there's a two sides. One is really the speculation of like, I think this is going to happen. I'm forecasting that this is going to happen. I want to make money on that. And the other side is really the hedging side, right? Like if we both, my co-founder actually worked at Goldman during the Brexit situation. And there was a lot of companies calling Goldman to try to get hedge their exposure to Brexit in some way. So almost buying insurance to future events, which, it's normal to think about insurance for hurricane and things like that, but think about insurance for an election or insurance for things like that. It's something that normal, not big companies think about. But we really want to bring this concept also to everyday people. So that's really how the idea came from, this combination of forecasting and hedging and really betting on the future in some way.
So you got it regulated. So what does it take to have it? Because that's a big deal to have it regulated as opposed to like Bob's Investments,
Right. Yeah. So I think from the very beginning, we wanted, we really believe that this can be like as big of an asset class as things like stocks or crypto or bonds. And we really want it to be really big. And we didn't want to start it, in a sketchy way that I think a lot of people try to start by doing something illegal and then, ask for forgiveness after. We wanted to do right from the beginning. So we knew that we needed to get regulated and do this the right way, because we are a financial exchange. So we regulated the exact same way that like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is, where you trade like grain futures and things like that. So the reason we wanted to do that was because we want this to really be a long-term thing. Like we really believe in our mission and what Kalshi can do and help people do. But yeah, this wasn't allowed before. So we engaged in I think 2.5, almost 3 years of work with regulators to convince them to allow us to do it. And then that after allowing us to agreeing with us, I guess, that event contracts are good things, that after that we actually deserve to be in exchange and we could meet all the requirements and things like that. But it was a 2.5 to 3 year process to get there. It was definitely probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So,
I bet, because
wow,
it's being regulated. I mean, because I think if I remember correctly, crypto is non-regulated.
I think it's fair to say that most crypto stuff out there is not regulated at all. Yeah.
Right. So that's huge. Congratulations, first of all.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Luana, I got a quick question. I guess probably a two-part. One, so is it just weather events like that you're trading in? And two, why, like what made you focus in on those weather events? Like, I guess obviously probably a gap in the market or somewhere but do you also have a passion for weather?
Well, that is a great question. So it's not just weather. We have things from like economics, so inflation, Fed rates, things like that. Weather, obviously, like hurricanes, Lake Mead water levels. We also have things even like entertainment, like Oscars, and things like that. To a lot of it, we even have like S&P up and down. Yeah, we have like Oscars. We launch even the Emmys, I think, next week. I don't really know what they are. I think it's
who's going to win the award, and like you're hedging. Okay, wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of money in the entertainment industry that people can't have access to places to hedge or mitigate that risk. So we really have a lot of different things, but we are very focused on weather. I think weather is our probably the biggest or two of the biggest like types of contracts we're pushing. Personally, I'm from Brazil. It's always summer it's always very, very hot there.
Yeah.
where I'm from in Rio. It just gets very, very hot or very hot. That's the difference. And in the summer it rains every night. So that's kind of how I grew up dealing with the weather. But when I moved to the US, I think when I started noticing there were actual like seasons were actual things, I started being more interested on it. But I wouldn't say I'm like I know that much about the weather, but weather is a big focus of Kalshi. I think for a lot of different reasons. I think people have a lot of risk associated to weather, right? Like there's places in the US that you legit can't get hurricane insurance anymore because of climate change and things like that. And that's something our product can help fix. I think it's something because of climate change is going to get worse and worse, and there's opportunity there. And there's a lot of people who love forecasting the weather, as you know. So I think there's also opportunity there on the forecasting side.
So how does it work? Take me through it. So let's pretend I'm going to be an investor. I'm not going to be. Just saying right now.
Maz is way smarter than us, though,
financially.
I got a bunch of licenses. Investment advisor, 66326, all that. So I'm tracking you here, but I'm like, tell me how this thing works. Like if I were hypothetically, in case Finn was listening, going to be investing, how would I do that?
Right. So let's say a hurricane hitting Miami, right? So let's say we offer categories 1 through 5. So let's say you want to forecast or trade on category 1. So you can do is you can buy a yes or a no contract, and each of those, the price goes from 0 to 1. And let's say you buy the hurricane category 1 in Miami right now, the price is 20 cents, which means you can put in 20 cents for the chance of making $1 if a hurricane category 1 makes landfall in Miami. So you're pretty much putting like a 20% odds that that's going to happen. On the other side, you can buy a no. So you can buy that you don't think a category 1 will happen. That's going to be 80 cents, and you make that 20 cents. So basically, the way you think about it is the price you're paying is the probability that you think that certain event will happen, and you get the $1 if that happens. And the very interesting thing about our markets is also the forecasting power, because the price is from 0 to 1. The price that it's trading at is actually pretty much the market implied probability, or the market price, like the market forecast of that event. So the fact that Miami category 1 is trading at 20 cents, it means that the market, so all Kalshi traders agreed, and the market price is saying there's a 20% chance that a category 1 hurricane is still going to hit Miami this season, for example.
Okay. So it would be like a season. So like if I'm really good as a meteorologist and I think, okay, maybe I'm looking at some models 3 weeks ahead, 2 weeks ahead of time, and I think, is that too late?
So it's the whole season. And the interesting thing about Kalshi, I think you mentioned at the beginning, like the stock market, is that you can buy and sell, and you can buy at any point in time. So it's going to be open up until I think November 30th, pretty much. The season will be over by then, but you can always buy, and you can also just sell sell your position at any point in time. So let's say you bought your yes contract category 1 hitting Miami at 20 cents, and then a storm starts forming in the Atlantic, and then the price shoots up to 30 cents because now there's a 30% chance it's going to hit Miami. You can sell it at 30 and profit at 10 cents. So really, you don't even need to be right that a hurricane is going to hit Miami. You just need to know that that it's going to be more likely that it'll hit Miami, and then you can start making money on that too.
Interesting.
So I'm Italian, and how is Vegas handling this? Are they looking at you going, "Hey, what the heck"?
Well, that is a great question. I think we're very, very far from gambling at all. I think that pretty much we operate as a financial exchange, right? So the same way you can go to CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, to trade grain futures. So the price of grain go up or down, pretty much what you're doing. Or the New York Stock Exchange to do that with stocks. Will GameStop go up or down? You can come to our exchange and trade on just a different thing, which is hurricane. Actually, and we're not taking any part of this. You're trading with other people. So we are just like a matching engine, exactly like the New York Stock Exchange or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And it's interesting actually, because a lot of what we do is actually already done by big companies out there. So you can think about, I think MTA and Disney World, all of these companies actually buy these things called catastrophe bonds. So they go and like spend like, I think 20 million, like more, $200 million buying something that if a category 3 hits New York City, the MTA will get a payout. So it's like parametric insurance in some way. And the big companies already do that. They buy it and they're able to do this. What we want to do is really bring on exchange and allow everyday people to do that. So I don't think it's gambling, because especially because if you're very good at forecasting the weather, I'm sure you have a very big edge there, which I don't think you might have in like a
so Luana, it's not gambling. So is there a limited number of shares, quote unquote, like shares of a hurricane, I guess, hitting New Orleans or whatever it is? Is there a limit to how many you've released?
So the limit we have is that your exposure is capped at $25,000. So it means you cannot lose more than $25,000 per line. So like a category 1, that's the limit. So you can lose up to 25K, which would give you, I don't know, making around 110K maximum profit or something like that.
I guess what I'm looking at, is there a limited, so you said it's all trading. Mm-hmm. So like shares in a stock market, is there a limited number that are available then? So if I want to say, yes, I think a category 3 hurricane is going to hit New Orleans, well, can I always get that, or will it get cut off at some point because there's no more availability for me to buy any there, or no one's willing to sell?
You can always buy it. There's no set amount. You can always buy it. It's a derivative. There's no set amount.
So you said everything's being traded though. So who am I trading with if I can? There's no limit to that, right?
Are you an exchange, I guess?
Yeah, we're an exchange. So there's someone on the other side. I think most of our traders are just prediction market traders, how they call themselves, is people that actually they're forecasting events all day. We do have some meteorologists and weather traders actually that all they do. There's some of their like full-time job is actually to trade on weather markets at Kalshi, because we have daily markets, so they come back every day to trade on them. There's some people that make so much money, it's crazy. And it's pretty much their full-time job to do these things. So it's like retail traders. And then we have some small funds and things like that can be trading against you. So small, like more like Wall Street focused funds. They're very interested in events and they're trading there. And then the last category of people who might be trading again is like against people like they're actually hedging or using hurricane, for example, markets as almost buying insurance. So they're coming in as like, I'm a restaurant in New Orleans, and if a hurricane hits me, I'm gonna like lose power and I'm not gonna be able to have people here for days, and all these other things, and like food spoilage, and it's gonna take a while to get my insurance payout, all of these things. So they buy these Kalshi contracts as kind of like insurance and business interruption. So they are also in the market. So if you're buying, especially if you're buying the no side on a hurricane, it's very likely that the person on the other side is actually just buying insurance.
So I got to ask this question because everyone's eventually going to ask it. We got to talk about fees, right? So are you doing it like an E-Trade where it's a certain dollar amount, or are you doing a percentage? How are y'all getting paid?
It's a percentage. It's a percentage of the transactions that go through the platform. And the percentage depends on the price you're buying at. So it's not like a fixed percentage.
Nice. Because Phil's going to get, what, 25,000? What are you putting Phil down for, right?
Luana, is how do you, so like, is there a certain like radius? So say you're saying Miami is going to get the category 1. I'm assuming it's not like the center, right? It's probably like, where do you cut it off? Or if it's like a tornado, or if, I guess, I don't know if you guys sell tornadoes, but, or if it's like how do you guys draw the lines for that?
Yeah, so we do it by like the city limits of for example, Miami, it's around the city limits, and who we use to actually make the settlement is the National Weather Service. They are our data source. And the good thing about us being regulated, I guess, tying to the beginning, is that all of our contracts, so all these things you're trading, they're actually like legal documents that they're like enforceable, and they're regular, like the government reviews them. And part of that is making sure the rules are clear, the settlement source is clear, it's good, and all of these things work. So we have a very clear set of rules that kind of answer all of these things about what is Miami, right? Like where do you draw the line? Where do you get this? It's like landfall. So everything is very specific because it's a legal document. So yeah.
That's good.
And super quick question, how do you decide what weather events or weather related, climate related things that you're going to trade on? Like the temperature of Lake Michigan, I see, like scrolling through everything. It's fascinating, everything, I would love to know that.
Yeah, that is a great question. So most of our markets, I would say like 95% are actually user suggestions. So people send me an email or send an email to support and be like, I really want to trade on this thing. And then the team takes it back and really tries to really come up with this legal document, the rules and all the settlement things. For the weather specific ones, right now what we offer hurricane, and I think Miami, Orlando, New Orleans, New York, and New Jersey. We offer the Lake Mead water levels that I guess just settled, just got decided yesterday, I guess, for 2023, but we're offering for the next year, and then high temperature for New York, Chicago, I think rain for Seattle and New York. So right now it's really much based on user suggestions. So if you guys have any great ideas for markets, please let us know. And the Lake Michigan one, we actually added this morning. So it's a very new market. We got some requests, so we thought it was interesting because it was so different from everything else. That we thought, like, why not just put it out and see what's gonna happen.
I love that. So what has been your most popular weather or climate that's been traded or that people have been buying?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest ever was the hurricane season last year, when I think it was Hurricane Ida in like New York, I think New Jersey, but I think New Orleans was kind of like everywhere. And people were, that was a lot of activity. And I remember it was like a weekend and we were just getting so many signups and trades and everything. But in a consistent basis, we have this like daily New York City high temperature that we have some of our traders, they like found some crazy satellite data and some other ways to like forecast and measure everything. They're able to predict it like hours before. And we have a lot of just like everyday daily activity. And it's really like it's like a forecasting competition. In our Discord, we have a channel, I guess, a server that's on the weather, and it's just them like talking about forecasting and all these things about the weather. So ever hurricane last season, but every day is on the daily New York City.
Oh, and I'm so glad that Vegas is not mad at you, because Lake Mead is now low enough. You're finding the bodies. I'm just saying.
God.
Yikes.
Was that an event you could forecast how many bodies?
Step into the storm with Virtue Weather software. Experience lifelike virtual weather through awe-inspiring visualizations and real-time physics-driven simulations. Whether you're a streamer or a broadcaster, captivate your audience with an impossibly immersive experience of live weather like never before. The future of weather visualization is here. See it on Stormfront Freaks Outbreak storm coverage this season.
Awesome. Thank you. Chris Johnson is the CEO, and Nate Fincher, the COO of Tropical Chasers, Inc. Weather Champs is a new mobile engagement platform that's being developed by the company. Weather Champs aims to be the most interactive weather app on the planet, by being the first to gamify weather through fantasy-style contests whereby participants compete for the most accurate forecast prediction. This is cool. I like this. But I got to ask you guys, I'll ask Chris first, since the E beats the O apparently in this. So, what's the whole, what was your inspiration? How'd you guys sitting around drinking and you're like, hey, I mean, how'd you guys come up with this?
Kinda.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how it started. And I know you tossed it to me, but this is an interactive thing. I may toss it back to Nate, because the original idea actually started in Nate's backyard, and then he introduced me to the concept. We wrestled with it a little bit, and it's turned into what it is today. So I will toss it back to Nate only because it started there.
Yeah, it started on a night on the back porch with my wife. We're having a glass of wine, and she's watching Facebook comments about the most recent storm, and I couldn't get her to pay attention. I was trying to talk to her, but she was engrossed in the comments. And I kind of thought, like, man, it would be really cool if there was a way that Stacy could do more than just read comments. Like, she could actually participate and maybe track her weather predictions, and maybe even raise money for storm relief. And it so happened the next night, Chris and our families got together around the pool, and we're having beer and pizza. And I kind of shared the idea with him. We've known each other since high school, or actually before high school. And he was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. And then he got back in touch with me a few days later.
Yeah. And for what occurred to me, so this is late 2020. We don't even know if we're going to have football season, right? Because of COVID. So, and we shouldn't even be hanging out, technically, Nate and I, but we were, and because it's Florida after all, right? Because we're down here in Florida. And so it occurred to me after that night, what Nate was describing was actually kind of like fantasy football. Because every year I play fantasy football with friends on DraftKings, and it just entering into one of the contests, I was like, what Nate was describing could be done on the weather front. And so I called him back. I was like, hey, Nate, I think your idea that you shared with me the other night, which I know that I was enthusiastic, but I'm even more enthusiastic about it now. I think that could actually be gamified in a unique way. And he's like, all right, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, let's get together for breakfast. So we decided to get together for breakfast, and I shared my idea. I said, look, have you ever played DraftKings? He's like, no, but I know fantasy sports. I'm all about sports, but I've never played this. And so I shared the idea, and the next thing you know, we were creating a company and starting to commercialize or starting to ideate ways that we could take his concept and make it a reality. And that's where we are today.
So how does it work? I mean, like, tell me, how do you, I mean, I kind of get an idea, but tell me how it works.
Yeah.
Well, so it's the simplest way to describe it, first off, is that we're a weather app. So you'll be able to get your weather directly from our app. Oh, just like you do all the other great apps that are in the market, you'll be able to get ours or get your weather through our app. But there is a little lightning bolt game button, and that lightning bolt game button brings you into a game lobby. And that game lobby has a ton of different types of games that we've ideated, and we can get into that later. But the first and foremost game that we're developing right now is our MVP. It's our minimal viable product. Let's do proof of concept. Let's make sure that there is a market for what we're trying to do. And so we wanted to make it very simple, very easy. Users can go in and they can predict the highest temperature, lowest temperature, highest humidity, and highest wind speed for their city or any city in the world on a given day. That's our thought. We want to be able to, just like you guys probably use your weather app every other day or every day, you're in there for maximum of 2 to 3 minutes, right? Very short period. You get your weather, you understand that you're out, and then you go on with your day. We wanted that time frame to be the time frame that we used to structure our, gaming platform. People go in within 2 minutes, they can enter their prediction, and now they get to be a participant in the weather forecast. And that's those are the 4 conditions for our MVP. And that is very simply entitled the weather game. And then from there, we have a whole slew of other types of games that we are bringing to market. But that is
okay. So here's my question, Chris and Nate. Can a dude make money playing your games? Is it a money thing, or is this just like bragging rights right now?
Eventually, yeah. It's bragging rights right now. As you can imagine, there's lots of legal things to look into in each state and what they allow for fantasy style games. So at first, to make sure that we can clear any of those hurdles and not kind of run into anything, we start with our what we call our forecast coins, which is a on-platform kind of coin that you earn doing different activities. You can earn winning at different contests, and eventually you can put those coins up against each other or friends when you can create your own private contest. The goal is eventually to get to the place where, you know, those transactions can take place on our platform. But for now, you probably have to do it on Venmo like we do on the side. We use our beta app to actually do the contest and then have to pay up through Venmo right now.
So how
go ahead.
go ahead, Dina. It's all you.
Well, so if you have one game, you had the MVP where you pick like high temperature, low wind, and humidity. What are you picking the same things for different types of games? Like how many games could you have? I guess I'm just trying to get it in my mind what you've got.
Dina, the sky is not the limit here.
Okay.
You can have so many types of games. So we're going to start off with the weather game. Very simple. Once again, your city or any city in the United States or in the world, you can play the weather for that city and you can compete others that are playing in that city.
Right.
We have other games that we're ideating. We can't get into too much detail, but we have other games that are around sports. We have other games that are around the SpaceX launch. We have other games that are around hurricane tracking. We have other games that we have ideated around a myriad of things that weather impacts. And so in the beginning, just focusing on the MVP, the idea here is let's prove out the concept and let's prove out our gaming logic. Our gaming logic is a proprietary code that we have developed to gamify weather. Let's make sure that works, and if it does, the sky's not the limit.
So as a meteorologist that installed weather stations, I automatically think about verification. So how, say I pick, Biloxi, Mississippi, how are you verifying all those things to figure out who won?
Nate, do you want to take that or do you want me to?
It's a drunk guy in the alley, isn't it? He's like, it's 43.
Nate's in the background putting in the predictions. Nate's the validator.
Up in the air. I got it.
Wow, Nate always wins.
What do you know?
That's so weird. So, we do have a game ideated around Metar stations that we're bringing online later down the road. Right now, we have a foundation of truth, and that foundation of truth is Eris Weather. And Eris Weather is one of our partners because they provide very clean APIs for pulling data. Some of that data is pulled from Metar stations, and we can say that's the foundation of truth. We have other areas where they're using an algorithm, but we have identified Eris as being our foundation of truth. Now that is going to grow, or at least the intention right now. We have a partner. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of WeatherFlow Tempest. Have you guys ever heard WeatherFlow Tempest?
No.
So WeatherFlow is one of our partners.
Great.
And WeatherFlow is their technology is used to settle insurance claims. They're used in legal matters because they're probably one of the most accurate in terms of what happened at this pinpoint, right?
And they got great weather stations, by the way.
Fantastic consumer weather stations, yeah, absolutely. And their network is growing every day. So the trick is identifying a single source of truth. This is what happened in that area, and that's what we're basing everybody because it's a level playing field. We're going to enhance that with additional data feeds from companies like WeatherFlow Tempest, and companies like WeatherStem. And so we're going to continue to grow the network to validate these scores. But the like I said, the focus or the the trick there is to find one source that says this is truth, because everybody's measured on that one truth.
Is there a smack talk component of the gamifying?
It's coming. Because, yeah, that's one of the first things that we want to do after launch is to bring in the social aspect.
Right. Like when I kick MJ's butt
right.
in a competition, like I want to let him and everyone know that he's had his butt kicked, right?
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Greg.
So you're gonna like chuck hailstones at him, right, or something?
Right.
Yeah, got it.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good one.
He
Yeah.
That's a
threw
good
a
idea.
hailstone at me.
Make it hail.
He did
Make
throw a
it hail.
hailstone at you.
Yeah,
I
he
was
threw one
there.
at me.
I was there, Dina.
Maybe you have to pay $1 per hailstone, right? Like to throw it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Or one of your tokens.
Right
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So great question, by the way, because that was actually we wrestled with that a lot. We wrestled with that for many months. Is how do we identify a foundation of truth? Like how do we settle scores of games? And we think that with the model we have right now works well with where we are. But we actually have engaged the University of San Francisco to help us with big data analytics. And we're going to be working with one of the provosts there to, as we scale and as we add users to the platform, we're going to be able to analyze big data and determine maybe whether or not there is a AI component to settling scores. Maybe there's undiscovered aspects. I phrase this a lot in what Nate and I talk about when we meet people, is that, there's a ton of people that have scaled Mount Everest, right? It's hundreds of people have summited Mount Everest. There's even fewer that have been to the moon, but less, or I would say nobody has done what we're doing. And so there's going to be a learning curve in the process. There's going to be things that we don't know today that we're going to know tomorrow. And that's been the evolution of what we've been doing, because we do not have meteorology backgrounds. We have backgrounds that are in business and commercializing and education and championing, products and bringing products to market. But we don't have this background. We've become fans, but we don't have that background.
Okay, so let me put my Mark Cuban hat on. You're in Shark Tank. I'm investing in your business. How am I getting money back? Like, how are you guys making money? It's a business. There's obviously got to be some sort of financial component. Where does that come in?
Nate, do you want to take that, or you want?
Well, there's a handful of ways. First is just like most weather apps have subscription services. So that's one of the verticals that we look at for a revenue stream. And then, of course, there's display advertising. There's also, merchandise and stores, and we're going to work with our partners to help sell, at-home weather equipment and anything like apparel, related, branded apparel and things like that. Another thing that we're really interested in is that sponsors can actually purchase a contest. They'll get to sponsor a contest in each city, so they can sponsor the whole country, or they can identify certain cities where people are playing, and then they get an advertisement, a coupon. It's a reward for the user that they can download a coupon. So there's things like that, and then eventually down the road, it's really not even on the near horizon yet. But once there is money, assuming we cross all those hurdles, then there's a small percentage when people kind of go against each other. We get a tiny percentage. So
you're the house.
The house.
Well, we are just to add clarity.
Actually, yeah.
Just to add clarity, we are games of skill, not games of chance. So we are not going to be the house. We are not like a casino. We are like a fantasy platform. And fantasy platforms are all based on games of skill, not games of chance. And so we a part of that, model, we anticipate that the Mets of the world are going to perform that much better than
Yeah,
the average Joe like us.
Baby.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right?
but then we're going to put you in your own category. You can't play against the rookies.
Oh.
And,
So I
eventually
sell
we'll figure
vacuum
you out.
cleaners. I'm not a meter.
Yeah. How do you verify? How are you going to verify that? Like what level, if I'm a meteorologist or not, how do you verify that?
I don't think they've ever
intramural
met
sports.
meteorologists because I don't think the meteorologist. Have you ever met a meteorologist? They're right
We have
like
a few on
10%
our
of the
advisory
time.
board. We have an advisory board of meteorologists.
Yeah.
We
And
have
there's
a crew.
ways like, I hadn't played DraftKings much, but I was consistently beating Chris every week. And so the platform, that's for real, by the way. He's shaking his head no, but it's for real. The platform started to realize like, hey, this Nate guy really understands fantasy football. He's winning too much money. And I'm no longer allowed to enter like the beginner contest. So a little bit of it is the data that is tracked, on your personal accuracy, how many games you win, that type of thing. We can start to identify, who the
ringer
are. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So like from the day that you guys had this idea in your backyard at the pool to where you got it started, like what was the time frame? A year?
So that was late 2020. And so we're almost 2 years in right now.
Okay.
So
We're pretty much 2 years in.
Greg's right before, and he's like, you're sitting around, you're drinking wine with the wife, and this idea comes along, and then next day she's like, "Oh wait, you're serious? We're gonna make money, right? I give you 4 months, and that's it."
Well, I
still
drained
married?
the checking account, honey, but that's okay.
Barely married, barely. I'll tell you, no, we have great support systems with our wives. To be dead honest with you guys, we left our careers in June. So June, we said we're going all in. We're all in on this.
Wow.
And we're gonna make a go at it. And you know what? A lot of it does have to be attributed to our wives who have, put up with us with this dream. And I'm getting brownie points here, so I'm just gonna keep talking.
We know they're watching,
so you better, yeah.
And
The Shark Tank guys love that answer, though. I mean, you guys went all in, right? You're not doing it part time. That's the right answer.
So how did you go? So how did you go all in? I mean, there's lots of different ways and platforms to start a business and different ways you can do that. I guess what'd you guys opt for?
So we actually got in contact with a University of Central Florida. They have a business incubator program, and that's where our offices are in Daytona Beach. We were able to get linked into there. They provide a low-cost space, an area where we could finally kind of work together instead of just talking on the phone all day long with each other and trading text. So we're working out of the business incubator, and all of our partners are kind of spread around the country and the world.
Yeah, and to add to that a little bit, one of the things that we did when we just before that is we went out to friends and family and we did a private placement memorandum and a PPM, and we said, hey, listen, here's the idea. If you think that you find interest in it, we'd like you to be, to partner with us. And so in 7 weeks, we raised $100,000 because our sphere of influence was like, this is phenomenal. Like, you're going to do disaster relief, fundraising. You're going to have a chance for people to do something that they are impacted by every day. They're going to be able to participate in the weather. I'm in. And so in 7 weeks, we raised about $100,000. We put in, quite a bit more from Nate and I from our personal side. And then it was off to the races of doing investigative work. So we spent a lot of upfront time determining whether there would be even a market for this, right? Because you don't want to develop this huge thing, spend a lot of money developing a product, and then find out there's no market. And so we spent a sizable amount of that money doing a market research, study, and the numbers were overwhelming. As a matter of fact, not to hype this up too much, but this is what really pushed us over the edge. When we got that market research back, the CEO of that company, which is in New York City, it's called Hot Paper Lantern. They're a big fantasy gaming company or marketing agency that focuses on gaming for the fantasy market. The CEO called us and he's like, hey guys, I haven't seen numbers like this. And we're like, all right. He goes, can I schedule some time with you? And we're like, sure. He goes, 88% of 1,000 people surveyed came back and said they'd be interested in playing the weather. And we're like, okay, let's do this. Right. So when we got that message, we were overwhelmed. And of course that helped us sell the PPM, that helped us get to where we are, today. And where we're at currently, like Nate said, we're in the incubator, we're getting in those resources, we're starting to get traction, and we're this close from our beta launch. I mean, we're in the red zone of going into beta trials, and you can go to our website to do that. And all I can say is that it's because of friends, family, and partners that have made this what it is today. And we can't thank them enough.
Thank you for tuning in to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Our bi-weekly show is available on your favorite audio podcast player and on YouTube, along with videos from Stormcat 5 at youtube.com/StormfrontFreaks. Patreon team members can watch the live recording session and access other great member benefits. For Patreon details, show notes, past shows, videos, merchandise, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out our interactive radar from our friends at zoomradar.com. If you would like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on X or Blue Sky. Search for Stormfront Freaks. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.